Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Pulumi, a universal infrastructure as a code for AWS infrastructure management. In this video, I'm going to focus on three topics mainly. First one, I'm going to explain you how you can install or how you can set up Pulumi in your system, and then how you can configure Pulumi such a way that it can interact with your AWS to do the required infrastructure as a code. And in the third step, I'm going to show you how you can do a real-time infrastructure as a code coding, right? For example, how you can create a stack, how you can update the stack, and then finally how you can invoke the Pulumi commands to interact with the actual AWS and henceforth performing the required infrastructure as a code, right? So with that note, let's directly jump to this demo. So before I walk you through these steps, a kind request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. So with that note, let's just get started with. Okay. So as I explained, I'm going to walk you through the three steps. Okay. Basically, first one, how you need to set up Pulumi in your system. Okay. So here I'm using Windows system. Maybe if you are using Linux or Mac, you need to go and find, how you can do those, Pulumi installation in those OSs from the internet. Okay. So here I'm going to show you how you can do that in the Windows system. So in my case, I'm running all those Pulumi commands or all those infrastructure as a code for Pulumi with using Windows system, Windows PowerShell. Yeah. So here, in my system, I have already pre-installed Choco Utility, which is a software which actually helps us to install the required software in your system. Okay. Basically, it's a utility which can help you to install the other softwares in the Windows. Okay. So henceforth, what I'm doing is to install the Pulumi, I'm just running a command called choco install Pulumi, which is nothing but we are using the Choco utility and installing the Pulumi. Yeah. So here Choco becomes a prerequisite if you are doing from your system. Yeah. All right. So let me hit enter so that I can initiate the Choco install command. Since my system is already pre-installed with the Pulumi, that's the reason it is telling me that the Pulumi is already installed. If you are doing it for the first time, maybe you need to interact with the the installation steps, like giving the required inputs or pressing the S button, and at the end you should see Pulumi is successfully installed. Okay. So basically, once that is done, which means that you have successfully installed the Pulumi, which is the first step of the demo, right? And in the next step, that is in the step number 2, we actually need to configure or make sure that you have those runtime in your system. As you know, Pulumi, even though it is an infrastructure as a code, it is in the backend, it is using the programming languages. Okay, it supports backend programming language. Okay, what does that mean? In the sense, it means that you can write infrastructure as a code of Pulumi in form of a Python as a code or Java, right? So you can use these famous programming languages to manage your infrastructure, where Pulumi consumes those scripts and maintains the infrastructure as a code. Okay, so that is a very specialty of this Pulumi, and that also brings a advantage called it gives you more flexibility. You can achieve the difficult the coding required at infrastructure as a code. Okay, so for that case, in this video I'm using Pulumi with using Python as a backend programming language, right? So for that case, I need to make sure that my system should be installed with the Python, right? So my system is already been installed with the Python. If you want to know how to install Python in the Windows system, please do watch my previous video where I have explained how to install Python in your system, right? So for this case, what I do is I just run command called python ---- version, which actually tells if the Python is installed or not, right? So in my system, I have already installed Python 3.10.8. Okay. So with this, now we have also done with the second requirement, that is installing the required runtimes in your system, right? And so till the after completing step number 1 and 2, you are done with the you are done with the installing the Pulumi CLI in your system. Now the CLI is present in your system. What you can do is you can go to the next step. That is, next step is to configure the Pulumi in such a way that it can interact with your AWS account. Okay. So that is basically giving access to the Pulumi. How do? We need to run these two commands. That is, setting the environmental variables. So let's run the first command, that is setting the environmental variable. right? So I'm going to copy it properly. Basically, I didn't copy. The first command is actually setting AWS access key ID as an environmental variable, right? So and that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to clean up this one, type this one. So for this requirement, what I did is I have already created an IAM user, and that IAM user is been provided with the administrative privilege. And then, or for that particular user, we have given only programmatic login access to my AWS account. After that, I created a secret key belongs to that IAM user. I downloaded that, and this is the the access key ID and the access secret belongs to that same user. Yeah. So this is what access I have given for the IAM user. Here I am using a IAM user to interact with the AWS. Basically, the Pulumi will use a IAM user credentials to interact with the AWS, and that's what I'm doing, right? So let me set the the access key ID of AWS. So as you might be aware, that the AWS all SDKs and CLI actually being equipped, or they are being written in a such a way that they use the environmental variable with a name like AWS access key ID, AWS secret access key, as the the inputter of required credentials to interact with the AWS. Yeah. And henceforth, even the Pulumi does. Okay. And that's the reason we are setting these environmental variable right now. Right. I'm going to give you the secret as well. So basically, with this command, you have successfully set the environmental variable. We can check that. So basically, you see the the AWS access key ID has been set. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for the secret as well. Here you go, right? So basically, these two environmental variable, the environmental variable is first, and this is the second one, are set. And now Pulumi will use this environmental variable to interact with the AWS. Okay, that's the basic logic. Okay, and that's how even every infrastructure as a code does. Okay, basically they're gonna use these credentials, interact with the AWS or any other cloud, and does the CRUD operation. That is, it uses the respective cloud providers APIs and does the required create, update, read, delete operations with those with the cloud, with using respective services APIs in the respective region. Okay, that's what basically under the hood the theory is. Yeah. All right, so we are done with the configuring the Pulumi to get the access to the AWS. Now the time has come to set up the project here. Okay, so Pulumi uses a concept called project, and this project is nothing but basically you are telling the Pulumi to come here, sit in this particular folder, do all those your binary configuration, setting the required setup that you need to do. So basically all those things will be done by Pulumi, right? And this is the step which actually does that. For that case, you need to go to the CD, in the sense you create a change directory, or you create a directory underneath a certain folder. I have created, in my case, right, this is my directory, and within this directory I need to create another vacant directory. In the sense, I need to create a very empty folder, and that folder has to be given as an input while setting the Pulumi project. Okay, so let me create a directory with using command mk directory and call it as a cloud quake labs. Okay, basically that's my YouTube channel. I'm creating a directory. Now I'm going to cd to that path, right? So make sure that you create a very empty folder, and that empty folder has to be done with the change directory. And being that empty folder, you have to execute the next command, that is Pulumi new project. Right, so we're going to do that now. So what I'm doing is I'm running a command called Pulumi new AWS-Python command. Basically I'm creating a new project called AWS Python, because I'm using Python here. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter now, which will initiate the the project setup from the AWS. Right, you see this is very interactive step. Basically it is telling you, if you need to keep your project name as Cloud Quick Labs, I say yes, and the description, this is the description, yes, I've just keep everything default. Stack name, so Pulumi in the backend, it maintains the resources as a stack. That's the reason it is telling what is the stack name, and it is also asking which region of AWS, that is US East 1. Right, after you provided all these interactive inputs, then Pulumi starts to configure the required environment of the project. Right, and as you see in this screen, basically it has started the the environmental configurations, and this configuration is going to take certain time, so be patient here. and also I'm gonna go on a pause for a certain time. Once the Pulumi completes the configurations, that is project configurations, then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna walk you through that as well. Okay, so basically, yeah, so here you see it has started. Okay, so it has started after taking the input from our side, and meantime let me go on a pause for a while until it completes the steps. Okay, so this step is very time consuming, that's the reason I'm going on a pause for a second. Okay, so for example, let me go on a pause. Now you see, the project setup from the Pulumi has successfully completed, right? I was on a pause for a second from here up. If I go up, after I run the command called Pulumi new AWS Python, we discussed up till here after giving the required interactive user inputs, and then it has taken certain like nearby 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and finally it has successfully created a project. Okay, and if I go to this path, the path which you are seeing here, and let me take you to this path. Okay, so this is how the path looks. In this is the folder we were in, and in this folder you see it has created certain folders, files. You see it has created a main file. It also created the some YAML file as well, requirement file as well, and the environmental folder as well. Okay, so basically, if we understand it from a layman terms, so Pulumi new project command actually does the required environmental configuration, required environmental setup for the Pulumi, so that it can do a required infrastructure as a code. Yeah, all right. So with this, we are done with the fourth step, that is creating a project. Now once the project is created, basically when you create a dummy project or default project, Pulumi creates a Python file. So as I said, I'm using backend Python programming for for infrastructure as a code. Okay, even though we are calling as a Pulumi as an infrastructure as a code, but backend Pulumi itself uses a programming language like Python, Java, right, or Go, or any other supported languages. Okay, so here I'm using Python because Python is very versatile and very fluent, very very easy to use coding skill, yeah, or coding technology, yeah. And that's the reason you see since we use Python, so it has actually created a Python here. Okay, all right. So basically the next command that we need to run is to deploy the stacks. Okay, so yeah, if I go to this one, so here you go, right? So so till now we were running this command called Pulumi new AWS Python. Okay, so you see AWS Python is a keyword which actually tells the Pulumi that hey Pulumi, now you have to create infrastructure as a code environment using Python. Okay, that's the reason we see main.py file, yeah, and the content of this main.tf file or main.py file, sorry, not tf file, it's a Python file. And in this one you see it is importing the Pulumi modules. In this Pulumi modules, basically it is importing the Pulumi AWS. By default, Pulumi is giving you an example like you need to create AWS resources with using this format. Here I'm giving you example for S3 bucket. Okay, that's also. Now let's go with the default, in the sense whatever the Pulumi telling us, let's run and try to understand how does it manages the infrastructure as a code, right? So let's say here the scenario is we are creating a dummy bucket, right? So for example, say my bucket, yeah. So my bucket might be already consumed by somebody else. So what I do is I'm going to create a new bucket name called Cloud Quick, right? Cloud Quick Labs, yeah, and then give 00001 demo. Yeah, I'm just give very unique name. Okay, so that we manage a unique S3 bucket name. Even though you keep it only my bucket, it does not matter. Pulumi has a backend, the intelligence that it will create your bucket with the appending unique string ahead of it. Yeah, but for the demo purpose, I'm just keeping the name of my my Python file unique. Remember it, I'm not using the Python file as it is given by, as it has been created by the project, but I have modified something. Okay, for your information, yeah. Okay, the next command is like in Terraform we used to write a command called Terraform init, Terraform plan, and Terraform apply. Here Pulumi uses very simple command called Pulumi up, which actually compiles the stack of the Pulumi and tries to do the required operations, that is either create, update, read, delete. Okay, basically create, update, read, not delete. Yeah, only if you run a command called Pulumi up, it does either create, read, or update, does any delete. Yeah, remember that. deletes, oh no, it deletes if you are deleting from your code, okay. But basically that is mean to update only, in the sense if you generalize the word, that is, it actually updates the stacks or deploys the stacks. Now what I do is I'm staying in the same folder called Cloud Quick Labs, and then I'm running a command called Pulumi up, which is actually invoking the Pulumi. You are telling the Pulumi to, hey Pulumi, start the infrastructure as a code deployment. Okay, this is a bread and butter command, remember it. Yeah, here we have a very unique step that we need to follow, and it will tell you what you need to do, right? And here you go, right? So if you see here, okay, so in my system I have already logged into the Pulumi Pulumi portal. Okay, so if you're running for the first time, what you do is, if I go to the Pulumi, so there is a blog, so you need to log into the Pulumi, for example. Okay, so you need to sign into the Pulumi. When you run this command called Pulumi up for the first time, this commandlet itself will tell you to log into the this Pulumi user account. Basically it will tell you to create an account. First you need to create an account, log into that account, then only the Pulumi app command starts. Okay, as I have already logged in previously, that's the reason in this demo it is using the backend already login, in the sense it is using the cache. Okay, so whatever the cache has been reserved in this browser, it is using that cache and cache, and telling that it is identifying that this is my account, this is the account I need to use to to help him to manage the Pulumi infrastructure as a code. Okay, that's for information. Yeah, so here, okay, so since the step has been skipped, I'm not going to explain that in detail. You see the view line. Okay, so this is the command you tells. Okay, this is my session. Okay, actually, yeah, that is Pulumi app.pulumi.com. This is my username, and this is the this is my project name, this is the environmental name, this is the stack environment, and this is preview, all those. Okay, basically it has achieved the required token to this one. Yeah, that's what it means. And when we run the command Pulumi, which is means that it actually you are invoking the Pulumi to you are telling the Pulumi to start the infrastructure as a code. Okay, that's the reason you see it actually gives the summary of the deployment in this way. Okay, in this format, there is a type column, there is a column with the name, and there is a plan. Okay, so here in the type you see it is actually creating a stack called as Cloud Quick Labs Dev, right? And then it is the plan is creating, in the sense what actually doing it is creating a stack called something like this, and underneath the stacks it is creating a resource called AWS S3 bucket, and the bucket name is this is the resource name, basically the resource name within the stack. Okay, and after this one it is telling that in the output I'm going to output the bucket name which I'm going to create now, and down the line it is still it is actually getting your approval, in the sense do I need to deploy this infrastructure or not. Okay, then yes, if you click on no, it will actually terminate and it will not do anything. But to deploy you need to use this arrow mark. You see there is a arrow mark you need to use, and there is a symbol. You see currently the arrow mark is pointing to S. Okay, so once it points to the S, you can move this arrow with using up and down button. Okay, so basically, and now I am keeping my arrow on the S button and clicking on S. Okay, so basically it is you are intimating the Pulumi, or you are indicating Pulumi to, hey Pulumi, just start the deployment. Yeah, as you see in the screen, this is very live one, and it has started to create the required infrastructure in my AWS account. Yeah, and once it is succeeded, okay, so once it is created, you see it will tell you it has created, right? You see, if I can select this one, because my screen is bit one, here you go, right? So after giving the do you want to perform this update input equal to S, then it has started to deploy the infrastructure. That is it has created a Pulumi stack. Within the stack it is creating a bucket, AWS S3 bucket, and this is the resource name, and the bucket name is this one. So if I go to my AWS account and try to find this bucket, we should see that bucket. Okay, I'm going to go to my AWS account. This is my AWS account where I was doing. I'm going to find that bucket now. So if I do this one, I need to refresh basically. Yeah, I'm going to refresh it now, so we should see that bucket now. If I search that bucket, here you go, the bucket is created. In the sense you have managed to you have created an infrastructure of AWS with using Pulumi. Okay, that's the first step that you have learned. Now not only enough, so what we can do is we can also get the output of a stack, in the sense output of the Pulumi stack, by running this command. Okay, that also we can do. That is Pulumi stack output and the bucket name. So if I go to the command, if I go to the main.py file, in this one you see there is a command, there is a Python line, that is Pulumi.export, right? So here we are importing the Pulumi. From the Pulumi module, we are doing an export, in the sense we are getting the output belongs to belongs to a stack called bucket name. Yeah, and in the sense you are getting some output from the Pulumi, and the value should belongs to the bucket ID. What is the bucket ID? This is the bucket, and bucket ID will be retrieved. Let's see what does it retrieve us. Okay, so if I run this command, Pulumi stack output, and here you go, my bucket name has been retrieved. Yeah, that's how we run the next command. Now, not only this one, so in the next command, so not only this one, I'm going to show you, like, we have already created a bucket. Now in this bucket, I'm going to keep one .html file, say index.html file, and we also see how we can manage this .index file as a the static website, in the sense static website. Yeah, just like a plain website with only HTML file. Yeah, and let's do this configuration with using Pulumi infrastructure as a code. Okay, that is the main aim of this demo as well. So for that case, what I did is I have already created a index.html file. I'm going to show you that what it contains. So I'm going to open this in the Notepad++. So I'm going to open this in the Notepad++. If I open this, so this is a normal natural index.html file. It contains a HTML format. It contains a body. In this body, I'm just printing a command, I'm just giving a heading called hey, hi. Okay, that is my annotation. In this one, I'm just keeping a line that is welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is my YouTube channel name. Okay, what we do is we make this HTML file as a static website in this bucket which we created with using Pulumi, and that's how we need to do that. I'm going to show you now. So what you do is you create this HTML file. So I'm gonna copy this. So basically, you need to create a HTML file, copy that HTML file, okay, or create the HTML file directly, into the Cloud Quick Labs folder. Okay, so you need to keep that file here. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now. Once you keep that file, you need to make further changes. I'm going to show you that as well. So let me rename this file. So basically, whatever you see, right, to main.help file, index file, these are the file I know which I have already pre-created, so that I can show the demo in a very right manner. Yeah, so I'm going to rename this one so that it should avoid the confusion. So what is called as a, so basically this, let's say EMO file. Okay, so I'm going to just edit this EMO file now, open with Notepad++, right? So not only this one, this is a demo file, demo.py file. Okay, I'm going to set by, I'm also going to open the another file. This is the local main file. Okay, so let's open this file as well. So in this one, till now we were just creating a bucket. Now let's go and modify to do some better things. Okay, what are those better things? That's what I'm going to show you now. Okay, so first one, what we're going to do is, we're going to do two things here. First one is uploading. Let's upload this first one. Let's upload this index.html file, and then make that index.html file as a static website. Okay, let's do that. Okay, first one. Now let's see. Okay, for example, if I go to the folder, we have a index.html file, and this file is not there in the S3 bucket. Okay, this is our S3 bucket and it is empty. Now let's see how we can upload that file into this bucket with using Pulumi infrastructure as a code. Okay, so to do that, it is very simple. You just need to write one more part. This is the part you can write it out. So where do we need to write? We need to write just underneath this one. So you see underneath this, under this line, that is bucket line, I'm going to add one more S3 called bucket object. So it is just like Boto 3 module, you can consider it. Okay, so in this one, I'm creating a bucket object. All right. So in this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create an object for now. I'm not going to give the ACL and content type later. Okay, we will give this later. For now, what I am doing is we are just adding an index.html file into the bucket. Okay, and this is the syntax you just need to follow. That is S3 bucket object. This is the file, and you see, we are giving certain parameter like bucket ID. This is it will reference from the above, and then we are using the Pulumi module. And in that one, we are using the function called file asset, that is index.html file, which is present in the local folder. Okay, for example, since the file is present in this directly under the Cloud Quick Labs project folder, you don't need to give any file. You don't need to give explicit path, but just mention index.html file. Yeah, all right, and that's all. So basically, this is what I have made update. In the sense, you have made your infrastructure as a code file updated. Now let's see how does Pulumi behaves in this case. So to do that, what you do is you're gonna run the same command called pulumi up again. Right? Now we see what pulumi tells us now. What I did is I run a command called pulumi up, and here you go. Right? So pulumi up has, if I can select this path, because this is not visible. So basically, let me select. So whichever the part I have selected in the yellow box, that is the output of the the command. Okay, so that is pulumi up. In this one, it is telling that it is actually it is doing nothing with the stack first. If you see that there is no action, there is no plan on the action, there is no plan on the pulumi stack, and but there is a create operation in the create operation here. That is it is actually adding AWS S3 bucket object with a name called index.html in the file, in the bucket which we created above. And the resources, one resource is going to be created and two resources going to be unchanged. Okay, this is exactly mimics how does Terraform works. Okay, basically basically all infrastructure as a code has to follow the same methodology. Okay, and that's the reason the Pulumi is also doing that. So now I'm gonna choose S like I did previously. Yeah, and then it has started to do its job. Okay, so if you see here, it has started to upload that index.html file into the S3 bucket. Now let's go back to the AWS account and refresh if the file has been uploaded. Now here you go. Right, the file is been uploaded. Okay, so this is how basically first we created an infrastructure, that is S3 bucket. Into that S3 bucket, in the next second we have added some index.html file. This is nothing but what you are actually managing your infrastructure lifecycle. One time you have one infrastructure and the infrastructure is getting upgraded next one. Okay, so here upgrade is an example, that is adding an index.html file into it. Yeah, all right. Now not only this, so not only enough, I'm going to show you one more thing. How we can make this, how we can make this to make that index.html file as a static website. Let's do that. Okay, so for that case, what I have to do is I have to change the code something like this. I'm going to go back and keep a comma here and just add this one. So basically we are updating the S3 bucket to make the object, that is index.html file, as a static website argument. And then in the website argument, we are making the certain configuration changes. That is, you are making that object as a publicly readable, and also making the content of that file as equal to text or /HTML. Okay, so these are the changes I'm making. Okay, so this infrastructure as a code file, that is main.py file, is my infrastructure as a code file of Pulumi, right? And this file is getting elevated. It's getting it's getting modified day by day. This is it's going through versions. Okay, and each version is nothing but one infrastructure versions. Yeah. Now let's see how does how does this Pulumi manages my infrastructure now. So I'm going to run the command again called pulumi up. Now it should tell us. Now it should tell how does my next infrastructure version looks like. Okay. So basically, you see here, it is telling that perhaps that is something is something is error. It's telling me that there is some syntax error. I'm forgetting some command. Okay. Now let me see what is the what is the thing that I'm missing here. Okay. So basically, if I go here, so here you go. Right. As I said, I'm missing a comma here, so I'm just remove this off. It should be required here. Okay. And that is what it is complaining. Let's go and rerun again. So basically, this also gives an idea like how does Pulumi responds back when there is an error in the code file, or when there is an error in the infrastructure as a code. Here you go. This time it has passed through and it is telling me, it is giving me a summary. I'm going to select those summary part. Now this is how it looks. Pulumi up. When I run this Pulumi up, you see it is telling me that I'm going to update the bucket. I'm going to make this index.html file as a the static website. Yeah. And in the resource summary, it is telling that two resources going to be updated. One is the S3 bucket and the index.html file, and one thing is going to be unchanged. That is a Pulumi stack. Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to feed the the interactive input, that is equal to S, by selecting S. So once I choose S and click on enter, basically you are telling Pulumi to continue the deployment as I'm agreeing to these changes. Yeah. All right. So now basically it is doing the required changes, right? And here you go, right? So it has successfully made the changes, but we have forget to get the we have forget to get the endpoint. Okay, we can also get the the S3 bucket static website endpoint as well. So that also you can do that by keeping this command. So there is a command called Pulumi export, get the endpoint of my static website. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do now. Again, we can get the static website URL by appending that command. Anyways, I'm going to upload this complete project in my GitHub repo, and the GitHub repo link will be shared in this video's description. You can reuse the same and try to learn how does Pulumi works. Okay, this is the aim of this video, is to help you to get started with the Pulumi infrastructure as a code. I'm gonna put it here. So since here it is not making any changes, the change will go very fast. Okay, you see it has successfully ran. If I can select the what we have done, so this is what it basically did. Okay, so basically it remained unchanged, and here you go, the bucket endpoint is written now. So this is our static website link. I'm gonna access this from the internet, and let's see if our website is working. I'm just getting, here you go, right? So my static website is now working. Hey, hi, this is welcome to my Cloud Quick Labs, and this is the link I have given. Basically this link is taking to my YouTube channel. Okay, all right. Okay, so that's all for now. I have completely walked you through from end to from the scratch to end, how you can use the Pulumi as a universal infrastructure as a code for AWS infrastructure management. Yeah, so with that note, I'm done with my video. Thank you very much watching my videos. I can't request, please do subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. So with that note, thank you, thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.